I want to start this video off by saying that my respect for professional wrestlers could not be higher. I mean, I thought this before I started to train to be a pro wrestler myself, and ever since I have flubbed me sideways, I think these people are heroes. Like, we see a power bomb, we just go, oh man, it's just a power bomb. But there is so much effort that goes into this, and it's the same with a headlock takeover. The super pros just do it, whereas when you first step into a ring and you try and replicate that, somehow you wind up outside on the floor with your pants over your head. So I would never dream to tell any kind of professional wrestler what to do. I just know that from a fan's perspective, sometimes I get a little bit scared because wrestling is going too far. Why? Here's why. Now in reality, what the hell does that even mean? I mean, one of the reasons I'm making this video is because a bunch of wrestlers have taken some risks and they've gone on to get noticed. So it absolutely does work. I mean, let's go all the way back to 1998 and Mick Foley being thrown off the Hell in a Cell. I still know some people that tuned in and became WWE fans for a few years because they saw that clip. They were like, ha ha, this is absolutely crazy, I gotta watch. This has intensified over the years as new recruits do get into the business, and just look at what rookies are doing now. I mean, they are springboarding all over the place like gravity is just cool with this. And if I went to do a springboard, I'd probably try once and I'd fall on my neck and die. That's not true, I have done springboards, but that is not my point. So I don't think this should stop. No way. Push the boundaries, live the dream, believe in every single cell in your body. However, what I do think is that when this does go wrong, shouldn't we start bringing together a culture where everybody stares at the other and go, you know what, let's hit stop. And yes, this is off the back of the Sammy Guevara versus Scorpio Sky TNT ladder match, when Sam went for this absolutely crazy Phoenix splash and essentially landed right on his head. Now, I've watched this a few times and I have no idea how Scorpio was meant to catch him to begin with, because he came down with such ferocity, somebody would have had to have been a giant. I'm not kidding you either. For a brief moment there, I thought the worst, and I'm also pretty sure I'm correct in saying that AEW went to picture-in-picture after this, or they cut to a commercial break, but in some territories, people were like, we ain't showing that, turn it off, so you just saw a blank screen as a bunch of officials went to tend to Guevara to make sure he was okay. And sure, it certainly seemed like he was alright, because seconds later, he was jumping off a ladder and Scorpio Sky was catching him in a cutter of his own. But very sadly, we have seen this before too, and when all the dust is settled, nobody was actually okay. Because a few months prior, something similar had also happened to Ricky Starks, who, by the way, is another excellent wrestler, as is Scorpio Sky, as is Sammy Guevara, and we were all like, oh, well, he fell onto his neck, but he was able to continue. And then a few days later, do you know what had happened? Ricky Starks had broken his neck. Now, he made a comeback, he's fine, he's still absolutely smashing it, but the absolute best thing about professional wrestling is we all know the deal, we know it's predetermined, we know it's a work. Choose whichever word you want. So if we do get into a situation where it feels like maybe somebody could be in trouble, we all just calm down for a second and say, hey look, we're gonna sort this and then we'll get back to your regular scheduled programming. And I get the wrestlers don't want to do that, and I'm being a massive hypocrite here, because if I was in the ring, I'd feel exactly the same way. And let me just make it very clear, I'm not saying you do this for every single big move, I'm just saying we become hyper aware of it. And look, it's wrestling, there's a risk by the very nature of it, but when we do get things like this, or mankind potentially being murdered, I'm just a little bit apprehensive that the reward part starts getting further and further away. I mean, the last thing we ever need is for somebody to continue only to then realize they've destroyed themselves. Because that is not the point. Like, even in something like boxing or MMA, there is a guy stood in the middle of the ring that goes, no, we're not doing this anymore, when it does feel like something could be going in the wrong direction. So I don't see why we can't do it in wrestling. And I can't lie and pretend that past tragedies hadn't jumped in my head that made me go, oh my gosh, we need to learn from this. And of course, especially in 2022, that bar we've already discussed continues to go up and up and up. So there's a real danger there, but that's the same even when somebody goes to the top rope. Believe you me, you see it on TV, you're like, man, I could do that. And then you're up there, it's like, somebody get me a step ladder, I want to get down. This reaches a whole new chat where we start talking about blood matches, but I suppose we know what we're getting there, and the people entering into such things have made this decision. But let's take something like JBL versus Eddie Guerrero from way back in the day. If you haven't seen that, Eddie cut his head so deeply by accident, he's admitted to this, the red stuff gushing from his head was way too much. And I totally believe that in the modern day wrestling world, if somebody had done that, we would just go, no, we can't go on with this. We have to close up the hole. So basically what I'm saying here is that we can just shut it down. I mean, maybe that's what Retribution was going on about. It's not fair to say that wrestling hasn't moved forward because I totally believe it has done. For example, when Kurt Angle got smashed into a table when Triple H was going to pedigree him, went to the backstage and was clearly concussed, he was then sent back out to the ring. And in no way do I think that would ever happen right now. I mean, it would be bad PR if nothing else, but I just know when I did see Sammy land right on his head, I wasn't enjoying this, I wasn't having a good time, and everything in my being was just going, good grief, I hope he's all right. And maybe he is, and I hope he is, and hopefully this is just me being an old man and shouting into the wind, but because he's so talented along with so many others, I'm just saying, if something smells off, let's go address it right away. And sure, look, it could ruin my sense of disbelief, it could ruin your sense of disbelief. We can just turn our back for a few minutes and go and make a sandwich. Who doesn't like eating a sandwich? Just to clarify too, this isn't me saying that WWE or AEW or any promotion is reckless. I don't think that at all. And I think most companies these days really do take care of their wrestlers, but it's just something we, the fans, can kind of manifest into existence. Because if the powers that be know that we don't mind and we get it, they'll be less likely not to do it. Or what I should have said is they'll be less likely to do it. Let's just move on. So I wanted to become cool. That's what I'm saying. And also I shall end it here and apologize for being your dad. Now go to bed, brush your teeth, try hard in school, but also remember you can be anything you want to be, including a professional wrestler. Please just take care of yourself and take care of others too. That's what Bret Hart used to say. Bret Hart was so proud that in his 20-year career, whatever the hell it was, he had never properly hurt anyone. And he once told me when he came to WCPW, that was the thing that he felt cemented somebody as a professional, which gets into the Goldberg conversation, which we're not going to do right now. I'm just saying, if Bret Hart says it, it is 100% true. Now, please do leave a comment below and let me know what you think about all of this. And please listen to the words I say. Don't go, Simon says we shouldn't do dangerous moves. No, you have to have danger in anything like this. But I'm just saying, if someone does hurt themselves, there should be a big butt on the wall. You go, ha, and a noise comes out. And that means, like I say, for 5 minutes, we'll just turn around so we can sort this out. Also, like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head over to whatculture.com where you can read articles like this with your eyes or your ears. It's completely up to you, although that may be hard. Make sure you come follow us on social media. We got a load of videos. I'm gonna make a deal with you. Go and click one, and then go and get that sandwich we were talking about, and then come back and watch it, and you'll be delightfully entertained. My name is Simon for What Culture. Thank you for joining me as always. And if you have got to this part, I just want to say, if you are a professional wrestler, thank you for everything that you do. I know it sounds cheesy and stupid, but we don't say that enough. The risks are real, people, or the hazards. WWF was telling this in 1998. Goodbye.